Hi, I'm Niall Murphy. I'm CEO and co-founder at EVRYTHNG. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk, where we bring together influential minds to discuss important issues shaping the consumer goods industry. Today, we're sitting down with Patagonia's head of global packaging and branding, Jennifer Patrick. Jennifer's really driving some powerful innovations at Patagonia, delivering against their mission of saving our home planet, which we'll talk a bit more about in the conversation. It's a huge responsibility and requiring some really interesting future thinking at Patagonia. So I invite you to join this conversation. We'll dive into an exploration of the challenges of circularity and some of the elements of digitization around physical products, dematerialization of packaging. So that's intriguing. Let's get on with it. So welcome to Real Talk, and here we go, a conversation with Jennifer Patrick. Hey Jennifer, wonderful to have you here today. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited.
Honored to have you having a conversation with us today. So yeah, Patagonia is one of the most admired brands in the world, and we're about 2 weeks ago that the IPCC came out with their latest report, which I guess you can't say is thrilling, right? Patagonia has got this really powerful mission statement, saving our home planet. I'd love to understand a little bit more about that phraseology specifically and the context of that, and then we can dive into some of your views on how the circularity space is going to grow up.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing up the mission statement, because it's one of the things that make me the proudest to be employed by Patagonia. They truly live by their mission statement and really work towards saving the home planet. And saving the home planet definitely is pointed, right? Home planet. It's our home. It's where we are. I think the goal around focusing what home planet is to us is not thinking that we can trash this planet and recolonize somewhere else. And really just solving the problems that we face here, and not continuing to waste away such a beautiful place.
It's a very important objective in many different ways. So looking at the role that data's playing and technology is playing for Patagonia in pursuing your mission, you've embraced digitization in a number of different ways, but can you link that to sort of the why of that and the role that you see it playing in the context of the Patagonia mission of saving our home planet?
Yeah, thinking about saving our home planet and what that goal is from a packaging and branding standpoint at Patagonia is capturing technology to use less materials without having to sacrifice anything, really. And I think in partnering with EVRYTHNG on the data side, we're able to really significantly reduce the amount of materials just in this first step with our hang tag program, but expand upon our customer engagement and deeper storytelling and more pointed storytelling. And so I think, it's really helped me even define a mission statement for my team, and looking at, okay, to use less, we're going to embrace technology instead of continually finding new single-use materials. And that's really been impactful for me and my team to be able to have our own mission statement. And that's kind of our North Star, is really looking towards that. Because as you know, we we're kind of going into a phased approach, right? Starting with hang tags and looking to grow into this. And so I still feel like there's a lot of opportunity under that umbrella of a mission statement for just our team.
It's interesting, the concept of sort of dematerializing packaging, right? Like because packaging is packaging, it's material, and ultimately you're taking product to market. But digitization can help to, as you say, eliminate single-use material. But I guess potentially reapply materials in a variable fashion. You've talked in the past about how Patagonia can talk to customers differently at different stages, and so forth. Maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, and it is kind of funny to be in a role where you're constantly trying to eliminate your touches on things, right? But I think, it then shifts to some of the strategy side that you're speaking to right now, right? Like being able to speak to customers in retail when they're buying the product and inform them. Or even if they're ordering something online and being able to inform them, maybe in a little bit of a different way because of where they are and maybe what they're interested in that time. But even as things change and we're able to either change some of the features of a product that may be changed down the road, and utilize some of the same data that we had on that product, or even expanding on storytelling in the future or by region, right? Like maybe we want to tell one story in Europe versus the US because that's what's important in those regions. And I think that that's really the big win, is being able to focus in on local issues, and not really focusing on just one global story or one global way of engagement. And it makes it feel a little more personal, which I think consumers are looking for.
I think it's a bit of a mind bender for design when one starts to think about the physical design layer around a product item, but then also this virtual design layer, which is in fact a variable. And it's a little bit like an app on your phone. The phone does a specific thing, but the app can make the phone do lots of different things depending on the data that it has or the context that it's sitting in. And I guess that's a challenge in transformation of your team's thinking, I would imagine, to start to embrace the possibilities of that. And is that a new bicycle to learn to ride?
You know what? You're right. And you said it perfectly, because it becomes like the focus is away from new materials and really focusing on designing this communication and how exciting that can be and how broad it can be. And I think that, our web team is very excited and they see the potential, but it is also just, with how many different people you have to educate on this new technology and get them to understand this new way of communicating versus providing tons of different copy for actually printing on packaging, expanding on that to think about all the different possibilities we could do digitally. And it has been that has been interesting with this shift. Yeah, that's a really good call out.
So I know you have a lot of passion about how circularity can be made to scale, and I think there's often this challenge of how can we make is it possible actually for a sustainability company to be sustainable, if you like, right? So what do you have to say towards brands as they look out into this emerging environment where sustainability and circularity are at the center of the business model? What's been your point of departure of thinking of that? What do you think folks should be thinking about?
I think it's very important for companies to embrace circularity. I believe that the landscape of retail, apparel especially, is going to change drastically because of the limited resources that we are continually facing, and that's growing, along with just how volatile things can be from either weather or, regional, or even, supply chains. I mean, we're seeing that with COVID now. And I think that my advice at this point, in my opinion, would be definitely focusing on a circularity strategy and how to reuse things we've already made. And, even it doesn't even have to really think about just apparel, right? I mean, we have piles of trash everywhere, and how can we start to utilize that to feed this, need in retail? And I guess that's definitely where my brain goes a lot. Not maybe, when I'm kind of thinking about these global issues that we have that are really scary. And at the end of the day, I really feel like that we might just drown in our own trash at some point. And that's not a great feeling to have, and just trying to think through that.
And it obviously requires a new way of thinking about the relationship with the consumer, and about how you can extend the life cycle of the product, perhaps in more than one consumer's hands, right?
Right.
So that we're not putting new stuff into the world. And certainly one of the pieces of work that we've been focusing upon is how to help brands participate in that ongoing life cycle, so that we can promote circularity and re-commerce. For example, I know that's an area that Patagonia is leaning into as well, right? The re-commerce or the upcycling environment.
Absolutely. And I feel that, the work that we're doing with EVRYTHNG is going to feed into how complicated it is actually to, get product back, manage the inventory, and then put it back out into the market. I feel like it's definitely a more challenging problem, but when you can actually, mark a product that's new and trace it through its lifetime, it really solves a lot of these issues on the back end. And back end, I mean, being able to take in product and have it be more circular. So
if you're talking to a colleague in a another brand organization, what are the areas of investment or I guess planning thinking that you feel that they should be paying attention to, that perhaps they're going to become super important in 24 months or 36 months or what have you?
I think that embracing and communicating the company's goals out is really important, and understanding that being more sustainable doesn't always mean that it's going to affect your bottom line negatively. And I would say that understanding what the current what customers want now, and the younger generations, what they care about, needs to align with their beliefs and their ethos. And I think that when companies can communicate that out and align with their customers, then I think that that's a benefit not only to the customer, but the company will see benefits too. And that's something that I see in this industry a lot, is just, well, recycled paper costs more, or using a digital platform, there's cost involved. But I think that you reap the benefits if you can just look a little bit further into the future with some of these impactful moves that will influence consumers to be loyal to the brand.
Yeah, and you talk from a position of one of the brands in the world that has the greatest loyalty from your consumers. I guess leaning into understanding that relationship better, and how that relationship is going to evolve, is a key part of planning ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Patagonia stands by what it believes in from a political standpoint, which I think you know, it can drive off some customers, right? But I think it also grows another customer base. And then, you know, and obviously from a sustainable standpoint, sometimes we make investments that at one point affect our bottom line, but then end up growing it in the future. And I think that that's been a really key thing to understand and grow with Patagonia on that whole strategy.
So I know we could talk for a long time here, but we're going to have to wrap up shortly here. But I guess when you look at what you're doing at the moment, and both within the context of Patagonia, but also the industry space that you're affecting, what are you most excited about, right? What do you think is going to change the industry the most over the course of the next couple of years?
Well, you know I'm on your show, and so I don't mean to, to kind of come off as sticky, but I do think that your technology is really exciting to me right now. When I'm looking at packaging and labeling and how to minimize that, like I said, we changed our mission statement for our team to really focus on this. And I just think that being able to capture this is going to mean so much for the environment, as far as like using less material, but also being able to communicate and be transparent with ourselves and with the customers. And so right now, this is what's hot for me. I am really excited about this and growing into this more, and being able to look to the future about how we can use it even more to help save our home planet, and have deeper communication with our customers. I think that it's just such a win-win, and I've had so much fun working, with you.
Well, thank you, Jennifer, and we're super thrilled to be able to help in on your objectives in some way. So thank you, and I really wish you the best for your broader mission at Patagonia, and obviously looking forward to helping you as much as we can as we move forward. Thanks for joining us on Real Talk today.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Take care.